Hi, I'm your Gemini friend. So this is a message that I feel very guided to share. It's something that means a lot to me because I feel like a lot of people have an idea that is disempowering, and I want you to be empowered above all. I want you to see your own power. So this can be controversial. It goes against some things. And I know that astrology has existed for much longer than I have in this incarnation, but this feels very true and real to me. So some people operate under the belief that we don't choose our charts, and I disagree with this. Of course, I understand. I'm a person too. I've gone through all sorts of things. I'm in the midst of my Saturn return, but I understand why people would feel this way, because the world wants you to be disempowered. But I see astrology as a tool for growth and empowerment that evolves with humanity. It evolves with us. So the main point that I want to make is that the planets do not control you, okay? They are not controlling you. They're not making you act certain ways. They're not making you behave in certain ways. I could say, like, I have this, so I do this. I have this in this house, so I suck in this area. But these planets are just a representation of different parts of your psyche. They're here to represent and show you these parts of yourself. And empowerment comes from recognizing it, recognizing these parts of you, and recognizing that you have the power to change them. You always have the highest expression of any particular aspect, even the worst one that you can think of. But the main important thing is to first just accept this. Accept that it is you. This is a part of you. It's not like Pluto is doing this to this and making me do this. Everyone has all of these energies in their chart in a different combination. But letting yourself get stuck in the lower expression of a placement or an aspect or any sort of situation that you have that you're relating to your chart, something that makes you feel like you are not in power in that area, I just don't want you to feel trapped. And of course, transits have effects on us. The planets are always moving, they're always touching different parts of our chart, making us aware of those things. But the planets are here to help us grow and transform. They don't want to keep us comfortable. They want us to recognize the parts of us that need work, that need improvement, so that we can have better lives, so that we can be living out our chart in the best possible way that we can. These cycles, it's all a part of life. We go through so many cycles. This eclipse happening right now, the energy leading up to the eclipse has been so intense. I am not denying the intensity of any certain things that you could be experiencing in your chart, any transits, any of that. It's not easy. I'm not saying it needs to be easy. I'm saying it's not supposed to be easy. But it gets easier the more that you recognize that every single thing can be turned into a lesson, something positive, something that helps us grow. Think of our chart as like the initial ego self. We have easy parts and we have hard parts and aspects and all sorts of different things, like synastry, things that come up between us and other people, things that cause difficulties, which ultimately turn into growth, unless you don't work on it at all. All of these things, they serve to show us the next step. What needs our attention? What part of us is suffering? And what can we do about it? Everything has a higher vibrational way of expressing itself. Even the worst, like Pluto conjunction square you can think of. So if these are different parts of our psyche, every placement, the aspects are the relationship that these parts of us have with each other. So some of them work really well together, and others, like, they can hardly exist at the same time. It feels like a major point of opposition, difficulty. We have contradicting desires, but these are all within us. They're not like planets. They're not planets making us act in certain ways. The planets are just showing us these parts of us. The active transit planets will affect these parts of us, but it's really just bringing them to light. And like this eclipse is, for me personally, making me go back to so many things that I've ignored up until now, but it is happening in my 12th house. You might want to look at where all of this is happening, because the sun is conjunct Chiron. This is inherently about finding our strength through pain, because these are the ways that we connect with each other and the ways that we are able to help other people by understanding that pain, connecting through pain. It's a powerful thing. Pain doesn't have to be a bad thing. We don't have to let it control or oppress us. The best thing you can do is just feel it, experience it, let it flow through you, and get out of it what you need to, what you're meant to be getting out of it, and then release it. Release the hold it has on you. The planets want us to operate at our highest capacity. They want us to look at the parts that are the hardest to look at, the parts that we might be rejecting. But please think about this. Think of the parts of you, what you consider like your worst placement or your worst aspect, and all of the negative feelings that you have about that. Like, just for a minute, personify that placement. Think about how it feels to be rejected, how it feels to be ignored. It keeps coming out. It wants attention. It wants your attention. That's you. It's a part of you, and it needs you. What we do is we change our beliefs, because these placements indicate our beliefs. They indicate our, like, if I have Saturn in the 11th house, I might always feel like I need to restrict myself in groups, or that friends are always going to control me. These are beliefs, though, that I can change. Is it helpful? No, it's not helpful to believe something like that. I can always change it around to a belief that helps me, something that's beneficial. Even if that belief is that this area is difficult for me because I'm meant to be really good in it, because I'm meant to learn the hard way. All you really have to do is recognize it and then refuse to be held back by it. And keeping that in your mind anytime that you're faced with a situation that's relevant to whatever it is, you're able to act accordingly. You can change your belief system. It takes practice, it takes reconditioning, but this is all working against, like, the ego that wants to stay comfortable. Our ego doesn't like change. But if we never change and we never grow, then we never improve. It's about recognizing that you have been allowing these parts of you to hold you back. Our placements in our chart, this is who we are in this lifetime. And this reality, duality, is everything. We can always go one way or the other. Everything has an opposite. So always choose the belief that's empowering instead of the one that gives your power away or makes you feel stuck. So for me, it's the most empowering option to choose to accept every single part of my chart. Even the parts where I'm like, why would I ever choose this? Why would this be something that my soul wanted to have to deal with? But we all come into life with a mission, and we actually set up our charts in a way that is going to cause us to go in that direction, so long as we are trying. Like, the transits help with difficult things sometimes. And of course, we have everything that happens to us growing up, the conditions of our childhood, all of that. Like, we're complicated. That's why I love astrology, because our natal chart, like, it gives some order to it. I can see in my chart, I see my strengths, my weaknesses, my goals, and my passions, and I accept all of it. I accept the worst parts. And even now, just calling them the worst parts, it feels mean, because I'm thinking of these parts of me, and they're parts of me. I don't want to reject any of them. The ones that need you the most are the hardest ones. We can always work on our weaknesses and lean into our strengths, but the most important part of all of this is just self-acceptance. We're all doing our best. If it makes you feel better to blame your chart for certain things, I don't want to stop you from that. I want you to feel better. I want you to believe in the way that makes you feel the best, the most empowered. That's why I'm saying all of this, because this is what works for me. But if you disagree, so long as it feels good to disagree, I want you to live in your truth. You don't have to listen to me. I just want you to recognize these as like core parts of yourself. And if you're always negative on them, like, I hate this part of me, that part of you needs a hug. Because I'm sure there are parts of you that you love, parts of you that you're really proud of. Think of the difference between how you treat those parts and the parts that you don't like. Even if you're not able to love them, recognize them. Don't push them away. Don't make them feel worse. Recognize them for what they are. Like, okay, I see you. You're here. I have not had a good time with you, but let's see if we can make peace and work on it. It's like becoming friends with all of the little parts of you. I guess that's very Gemini, but like, I see all of these things, even the worst parts, that they serve us. They serve us well. And the more love and care that we put into these parts, the better everything is going to become. Because just think, like, if you're a mess of parts that you love and hate, wouldn't you rather give at least like some good energy to the parts that you're usually hating on? This is just what I've been thinking about a lot, and I can't get it out of my mind. I really feel the need to share. So let me know what you think. I know that this goes a lot against like the idea of fate and fatalistic views, certainly. I do not subscribe to the idea that certain placements mean that certain negative things are going to happen in your life. I believe in the possibility of the highest expression of every placement. And I'm not saying that everything needs to be good, that everything needs to be positive all the time. I'm not ignoring the darkness, the shadow within us. This is something that needs to be seen. It needs the love. It's like ultimately we do want to get to the highest expression, but we can only get there by acknowledging the darkness and by looking at the things that we don't want to look at the very most. That is where real growth and transformation comes from, and that's all I want for everybody. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you so much for listening to me. I do offer personal natal chart readings and synastry readings if you're interested in that, but I hope you're having a really good time. This should come out on the day of the eclipse. I'm recording it right before, the day before, so I wish you the best. I love you. Thank you. Bye.